Welcome to Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged, a podcast for all women with a creative business who want to learn more about how to make money doing something they love. I'm Joanne Pearce, a female entrepreneur myself, 15 years experience running my own handmade stationery business, Vintage Twee. I'm an established seller on two of the biggest handmade marketplaces, so I've got a whole load of advice to share about how to start and run your own successful creative business. I'm also a wife and a mother, so I get the struggles of trying to do it all while you're raising a family. It's hard. Alongside running Vintage Twee, I'm also a mentor for other women like me who desperately want to work for themselves but just need that bit of support to get going and get their business dream off the ground. I'm a friendly northerner, I'm open and honest with a huge heart and a real fighting spirit, and I'm living proof that you can achieve anything that you set your mind to, even in the face of adversity. This podcast celebrates the selflessness, strength, and resilience of women in business. So if you're ready to ditch the 9 to 5 and learn how to start your own successful creative business, you're in the right place. Hello, and welcome to the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast. Thank you for pressing play and choosing to listen to me. It means the world because I know how hard it is to grab 30 or 40 minutes a day to do something for yourself that you enjoy. And especially if you've got kids or grandkids and you've managed to come out alive after the Easter holidays. I'm telling you, I didn't think I was going to make it to the end of the 2 weeks. But she's gone in today. I skipped home happily. I'm awful, aren't I? But I'm sure I'll touch on that later as we get into this episode. I'm really glad that you've chosen to listen to this today because if you are a woman who either works for herself already or is thinking about setting up a business of your own, then you 1,000,000% need to hear what I've got to say today because it's going to save you a lot of time and mental energy. And it's going to help make things happen quicker for you. One of my clients actually told me to record this episode for you, and it's all because of a conversation that we had during one of our one-to-one sessions, and I'll tell you about it now. So this lovely lady, she lives on the other side of the world in Australia, and we have a session once every 3 weeks or so as I'm helping her get her business off the ground. Now, she's a wonderful, talented artist, and she's opening up a gallery stroke shop where she'll be selling other people's work as well as her own and exhibiting it too. You know, just to give them a platform to showcase their work and get established. And she's very much like me in that she genuinely wants to help other creatives. You know, she wants to be accessible and approachable and basically give them as much support as she can to help them succeed. Now, in the past, she has tried to get a business going and then just talked herself out of it, mainly because she suffers quite severely from ADHD and it's prevented her from making any progress every time she tries to get started. But a few months ago, after listening to my podcast, she reached out to me and she asked for my help. So we've been working together now for around 5 months or so, and she's got the furthest she's ever got. So much so that she signed a lease and she's renting a shop to make this dream happen. Now, that's not to say she's not procrastinating anymore. All right, so this conversation we had was about when she should officially open her shop. So she's been in there, she's been doing it up, she's been prepping it, getting it ready. But it's been about 2 months now, and she told me on our last meeting, she said, Joanne, the paper is still up at the window. She said, I go in the morning and I rush in and I shut the door quickly behind me. I'm locking it so no one can come in. And then she said to me, when do you think I should open? I really don't want a big launch. I don't want all the attention and I hate the thought of it. You know, it just makes me want to run away. And I just don't want to feel that pressure. And, you know, I could see how anxious this whole decision of when and how to open her shop, it was how it was making her feel. It was really hard on her. So I sat there, really empathising with her and the struggle that she was having. And I thought, I'm just going to say what I think she should do. So I did. And you know what I said? I said, just open the bloody door. You don't need a big launch. You don't even need to tell anyone that you are officially opening. I said, just go in one morning and leave the door open. And if anyone saunters in, just say hello, welcome them, you know, tell them that you're still in the process of getting things ready. But they're welcome to come in, have a chat, look at the space in all its unfinished glory. Like, there's no pressure whatsoever. Just carry on doing exactly what you're doing, but leave the door open. And she looked at me And a big smile came across her face, followed by this huge wave of relief. And she just goes, "Oh my God, just open the bloody door." In a fabulous Australian accent, nothing like that. That's my attempt. But she was like, "I don't need a big opening. I can just do it my way. I don't have to announce it." And I was like, "No, do whatever you want. It's your business and you do it your way in the way that you feel comfortable." And then she realised that the whole reason why she had been procrastinating for so long on getting ready to open a shop is because she didn't want to do it in the way that she thought she had to. And then after hearing me tell her to just open the bloody door, it was like a light bulb moment and the energy came back. The fear lessened and she felt instantly more capable of being able to do it because she could do it her way. And that's exactly what she wanted to do. Now, I'm using this story as an example because, first of all, she said to me, as soon as she had that light bulb moment, she went, "Joanne, you need to do a podcast episode called Just Open the Bloody Door." And I thought, yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea because it illustrates perfectly how we deliberate far too much on things, particularly as creatives, and we don't need to. Because the only thing that procrastinating actually does, apart from giving us a headache and sending our blood pressure through the roof, is slow us down. Like, why would we want to be slowed down in our mission to start or grow our business and really get there towards living the dream of doing what we want to do in life rather than what we feel we have to do in life? It doesn't make sense, does it? Well, actually, I think it makes perfect sense. Procrastination, it's usually a sign that we are delaying something for a reason. And that reason is 9 times out of 10 because we don't actually want to do it deep down. And that's fueled by our insecurities, our fears, and our lack of resources like time or money or energy. They are more powerful than our desire to make it happen. But we aren't quite ready to admit it, so we procrastinate. We're hoping that if we put it off just that little bit longer, that we won't actually have to do it, which, as you can imagine, doesn't get you very far when it comes to starting up a business or growing one if you've already taken the leap. I mean, how many times have you said that you're going to do something and then you've talked yourself out of it? Not just business related, but in your day-to-day life as well. I do it all the time. I've lost count of the amount of times I've said, "I'm going to go swimming to try and get fitter." And then I've convinced myself that either I don't have the time or I've had no sleep, so I've got no energy. I mean, I think I'm going to be waiting until probably my daughter hits 18 before I get any sleep. And then I probably still won't because I've been waiting up to hear the key in the door when she rolls in pissed at 4 a.m. Like, my poor mother, I totally get it now. And the reason why I think I've backed out of the swimming every single time is because I don't actually want to do it. It's that simple. Like, I think I want to do it, or I might think I want to do it. I dig out my costume. I imagine how lovely and free it's going to feel to be in the pool doing some lengths alone without having to play sodding swimming ladies with my 5-year-old. Honestly, I took her swimming in the Easter holidays. I mean, she can't swim, but she has one of those life vest things on, so I can let go of her. She just floats around. But Eden being Eden decided that she wanted to spend the whole hour just walking up and down the pool steps instead, pretending that she was coming in for a swim session, and I had to say, "Oh, excuse me, madame, I love your swimming costume. Would you like to go for a swim with me?" Like 1,000 times, like, honestly. I did this for the best part of an hour. It was so embarrassing. But anyway, back to how I think it's going to feel, right? I imagine the whole thing. I imagine the end result, maybe 6 months, a year down the line. I think of how much fitter and more toned I will be. But then the day comes and I talk myself out of it. Why? Because I really don't want to do it. And even if I do, just a little bit, the motivation to do something else is stronger for me. For me, it's always work. I'd rather put the extra couple of hours into getting my business built up. So I put off swimming. It's not as important to me. When I've got to where I want to be with the business, that will undoubtedly change. But for now, what energy and time I do have in me gets ploughed into that. So when it comes to your business, you have to ask yourself, what are you putting off and why? Is it something that you really want to do? If the answer is no, or even if the answer is a maybe, then honestly, you're not going to last the duration. It has got to be a yes. And not just a wishy-washy yes, the one where you say, yeah, I really do want to work for myself because, I think I'd really enjoy it and I'll get to watch EastEnders in the day while I'm creating and I'll take my laptop to Costa and do my emails and use their heating and electricity. Well, yeah, you can do those things, which is great. But the kind of yes I'm talking about is a resounding yes. It's a yes, I am going to make this happen and I will do whatever it takes to get this off the ground because my future happiness depends on it. And I won't stop until I'm on that beach in my holiday home in the Caribbean for 6 months of every goddamn year or whatever success looks like for you. Okay. But procrastination, it's a real problem for people who want to or who already have their own business, particularly creatives. And I want to talk about why it's such a struggle for us to open the door. Because you know what? It's not all our fault, right? The creative brain is procrastination's best friend, and they're often found hanging out with each other. Procrastination is like that bad influence, the one that tries to sway you to do things that aren't good for you. Like when you're younger, you've got that one friend, haven't you, that tries to get you to try smoking or sneak out some of your parents' alcohol. In fact, actually, it doesn't matter how old you are, does it? We've all got that one person in our lives that's probably not the best influence on us. My friend made me laugh once, a while ago, when I was telling him that I didn't like one of my then boyfriend's friends. I said, but he's just such a bad influence. I said, and I always used to worry that he'd lead my boyfriend astray, Things you care about in your 20s, I couldn't give a shit now. I'm too tired to care. But my friend said to me, Joe, everyone's got a dickhead mate. And it always makes me laugh, still to this day, right? So procrastination is basically a dickhead mate who is trying to knock you off course and get you to make bad decisions, if any at all. It encourages us to only seek perfection, to not do anything unless we're 100% ready. Like, who is ever 100% ready for anything? And to delay making decisions to the point where we are paralysed and we just can't decide anything ever. Or at least not without a major debate about every single little thing. And then throw a neurodivergent brain into the mix and all hell breaks loose. So let's call on a bit of science-based evidence here to help us out, all right? Let's give us an actual reason why some creatives suffer so bad with procrastination. Now, research has showed that people with ADHD actually have neurological differences that interfere with their decision-making skills. They often struggle with executive function. Now, that's something that includes skills like time management, decision making, and starting tasks. So, it isn't just laziness, it's a difference in brain wiring. There's an area of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, and it helps us with things like planning and prioritizing. And research has shown that this area of the brain, it works differently in people with ADHD. And ultimately, it makes it harder for these people to break down big tasks into smaller, more doable tasks. So they just don't do anything because it all seems too big and too impossible. And they just say, forget it. I can't even face it. A study in the Journal of Neural Transmission, sounds like a riveting read, doesn't it? Well, that found that the ADHD brain has lower levels of dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter responsible for motivation and reward. So this basically means that tasks that feel overwhelming and uncertain, many of which you'll come across daily when you have your own business, they don't provide the same reward to the brain, which then leads to avoidance and procrastination. This theory of perfectionism being linked to procrastination is also more evident in neurodivergent people. And a study found that people with ADHD often have a heightened sensitivity to criticism, which makes the fear of failure even stronger and therefore leads to total avoidance. And I can totally relate to this with my husband, who I am convinced has undiagnosed ADHD. He has a real heightened sensitivity to criticism, and it does make him afraid to try things. I totally see that in him every day. And it's just a difference in the way that his brain works. There's something called the paradox of choice. I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but it was developed by a guy called Barry Schwartz. I don't think it's the same Schwartz who makes my chili con carne packet mix. But he explains that having too many options can lead to stress. It can lead to avoidance and also regret. And this is especially true for creative entrepreneurs because we often have so many bloody ideas circling our heads all at the same time, don't we? And we genuinely struggle with picking a single path forward. It's like when you're trying to decide on something for a new range. Let's say a new collection of baby clothes or something that you're designing, right? You might go through a thought process similar to this. So you might start with something like, oh, how many colour versions should I do? What about sizing? Do I make them for babies from age 0 to 3 years, or do I do babies age 0 to 3 months? Oh, shall I do some for premature babies? Oh, but then I best do some for bigger babies too. Oh God, what if I offend the parents when I'm advertising that I make baby grows for larger than average babies? God, should I charge more for the larger baby grows because I'm effectively using more material? And then they take longer to make than the ones for smaller babies. But then people will think I'm penalising them for having a large baby. And then they'll leave me a horrible Google review saying I'm an awful person and a fat phobe who shouldn't be allowed to make clothes for babies. Oh, sod it. I'm not doing it. It was a terrible idea. I should just stick to what I know best, and that is selling insurance. The end. The dream is over. Yeah? I mean, that's procrastination there in all its glory, isn't it? But Barry's paradox of choice theory is most definitely right if we have too many options. We become so stressed out that we just don't end up doing anything at all. And my daughter really struggles with making a decision. And I've seen firsthand her stress levels go through the roof when, in the past, I've asked her to pick something from, say, an array of choices. Like, she can't process it. I've actually seen her physically start to panic. She shakes, her breath quickens. She becomes so distressed that she can go into a full-blown panic attack in just a couple of minutes. And it was actually really scary the first time I saw it. And after a lot of experience with it and help and guidance from various professionals, I now know how to help her through this mighty task of decision making. So, instead of saying, for example, what do you want for lunch, Eden? Like, that will send her head spinning. She won't know what to choose. Instead, I will say, Eden, would you like a ham or a cheese sandwich for lunch? Yeah? Instead of asking her what she wants to do that day, which is something that causes a huge problem for us during our free time at weekends or evenings, when she's finished school, instead of me making such a broad question to her and asking what she wants to do, I'll say something like, shall we go to the park or shall we stay in and do some baking? Yeah, two choices. That's it. We were out the other day shopping and I took her to get some new clothes and she just went into the shop and she saw everything and she became so overwhelmed that she got upset and we had to leave the store. She said, I can't decide, mummy. I can't look at all these things, and we had to come away. We took 10 minutes. We didn't end up going back into the shop. She couldn't face it, and that was fine. But it was too much for her. But if we're going into the shop and I say, Mummy's got something to show you, two things, absolutely fine. She will choose one and we're done. It's just the way her brain is wired. And it's the same for us creatives. It's not a personal failing that we procrastinate and we can't make a decision for love nor money sometimes. We just need to find a simpler way to present it so our brains don't shut down or totally block it out or avoid it. So if you are that woman thinking of launching a range of baby clothes, try to simplify it. Start small. Just focus on one age range, 6 to 12 months. Let's be honest, new mums are far too knackered in the first 6 months to give a shit about their baby's fashion sense, aren't they? Yeah? I know I had all these grand ideas of dressing Eden in these little matching two-piece outfits, themed with the season and the event or whatever. Turns out, I dressed her in baby grows for the first 6 months of her life because, well, A, it was far too much effort to even consider picking out a matching outfit for her at 4:30am, which is a time she used to start every damn day. And B, I was too scared to put her in anything else that had fastenings or awkward buttons or frills or waistbands because she would literally just scream in my face for like an hour every time I did a nappy. So less faff, the better. Baby grows all the way. So one age range, maybe 3 colour versions max. And most importantly, don't worry what people will think of what you're doing. People will always have an opinion and you can't let it stop you. So keep it as simple as you can. So at least you can get started and then you can figure out from that point what is selling or not, and then add to your range from there. If you can recognise and understand what your brain needs, such as simplified information or reduced choices, in order to get the task done, then you are much more likely to stop the procrastination dead in its tracks before it stops you from making that progress that you need to move forward. Now, I quickly just want to talk about the role of procrastination when it comes to this whole concept of launching, right? So, whether it be opening a shop like my Australian client, or launching a new product, new branding, whatever it is that you are building up the excitement and anticipation for and wanting to get out there for the world to see, right? You are planning it down to the finest detail, aren't you? When you'll do it, how you'll do it, keeping it all under wraps and secretive like some undercover operation. You see it on Instagram all the time, don't you? When people put posts out like sneak peek of what's coming, or "Ooh, I can't wait to share something really exciting that's been happening here at HQ. Watch this space." Well, I've got news for you. No one gives a shit. Honestly, they don't. It might sound harsh, but it's true. They don't care if you have a new logo. You've just spent the last 3 months designing it, planning the big reveal, doing a giveaway where you screw yourself over and end up out of pocket for a few likes and maybe 2 new followers who actually don't care about what you do and will never be a real customer. They're just freebie chasers. This whole concept of the big launch, it's a total myth. It's just procrastination, flexing its muscles and slowing you down. I bet if your life depended on it, let's say you had a knife to your throat, right? And you were told you've got 36 hours to produce your new logo and upload it to your website and social media, you would do it, right? The same thing that's taken you 3 months to perfect could actually be done in 3 days or less, even. You haven't got the luxury to deliberate, you just do it. Some of my most profitable ideas have taken me the least time and thinking to do. And society tells us that success comes from these grand openings, but it really doesn't. And it is not the only way. If you take this pressure off yourself, stop thinking that you have to have everything perfect before you announce it to the world, then honestly, you will get so much more done. You really will. Don't overthink it. Don't have this build up. I used to do it. I've stopped now. It feels too fake to me. Instead, I have a different strategy, if you can call it that, I guess. I don't think it's a strategy, it's just what I do. And I call it my soft launch method. It's perfect for people who are overthinkers and they find themselves procrastinating far too much on their ideas. So much so that half the time they don't even happen. And you just end up wasting your time and your energy on something that never materializes. Yeah, we've all been there. But my soft launch method is all about giving yourself permission not to do things loud and flashy, but doing it how you feel comfortable. My bonus podcast episode this week is all about this soft launch strategy, and I'm giving you a step-by-step guide on how to launch something quietly without that overwhelm. It's perfect for introverted creatives and even neurodivergent people who struggle with overthinking and they never get around to getting things done in their business. I think you'll find it really practical and reassuring. So if you are a paid member to my Substack, you will get access to this episode plus all the other bonus ones that are on there as well. And if you're not, do consider joining. It's just £6 a month. You can cancel whenever you want if you find them absolutely crap. Hopefully you won't. But you'll also get 2 bonus podcast episodes a month, as well as access to my chat room where I host question and answer sessions. So, you can jump on and I can give you some help there and then on your business. But if you like the sound of taking the pressure off and learning how to launch your new product or range or venture in your own way that doesn't make you break out in hives at the stress of it all, then you might want to catch that episode. It's on this Friday, the 25th of April. So keep an eye out for that. So let's say you are a procrastinator for the sake of this episode and it takes you bloody ages to make any decisions, yeah? And you've got a terrible habit of talking yourself out of things so you never get very far. What are the effects of that? What is the cost of waiting? And what's at stake if you don't start to be more decisive? Well, quite a lot actually. All of which will massively affect the success of your business. And that's if you ever get around to starting it at all, yeah? All that worrying and waiting, you lose sleep, your brain hurts. Nobody wants to talk to you anymore because you're doing the heading going on and on and on about the same thing to them. Just ask my husband. I think he's lost count of the amount of times I have interrupted his peaceful gaming time in the evening with, "Oh, can I just ask you a question? Let's get your opinion on something I'm thinking of doing." And I don't know why I do it, because as soon as those words come out of my mouth, I can see him like mentally checking out. Like he's there in body. He's pretending he's listening, but really his mind is desperately looking for a way out of the conversation. Usually he announces a need to poo because he knows he's up there for a long time, and by the time he comes down, I'll have texted my sister or my best friend, and I would have asked them instead, and he's off the hook. I'm not daft. But the constant procrastinating, it drains your mental energy, sometimes to the point that you are so sick of thinking about the idea that you end up just completely abandoning it, and it never happens. My advice is, if you've got an idea, give yourself a quick turnaround to get it out there. Like less than a week, depending on what it is, obviously. But if it's a new logo or branding, or you want to try a new product that you can design or make in a week, if you really set your mind to it, you can do it. I tend to do it quicker than that. Like I'll go hard at it for a couple of days and I'll whip it out of my brain and into physical form before procrastination gets its claws stuck in. I don't give it chance anymore. I like to strike while the iron's hot, and I always find I get the best results when I've churned something out quickly. And financially, yeah, no one can afford to hang around, especially these days. Procrastination is expensive, isn't it? The longer you wait or put something off, the more it costs you, both in loss of sales and also in the things that you're going to probably buy while you're thinking of this life-changing idea that you are most definitely going to get out there one day and show the world soon, maybe. Yeah, I'll give you a funny example. So my friend Sophie, who I often talk about, she's the clever lady who makes the biscuits and the bread and all the other good stuff that has contributed to my weight gain since I've been friends with her. Anyway, Sophie, so she admits she is the queen of procrastination. And a couple of years ago, she had this brilliant idea for a product, and she needed some jars to present the product in. It was like a cookie mixing gift thing for Christmas. It was amazing. Anyway, she sat on this idea for a while. She bought everything she needed to create it: the ribbon, the jars, the ingredients, you name it. She perfected the recipes over and over again. She wrote the product description. She took the photographs. She really geared up for this release of her new product, and I couldn't bloody wait. And then, nothing. She had spent that long trying to get it ready for the launch that life just got in the way, and she just didn't want to do it anymore. She couldn't do it anymore. And now she's got like 100 jars from Poundland in her garage that she's got absolutely no use for, which we always joke about. But it's also the cost of her time. The time she spent developing this whole product, it was a lot. And the missed opportunities that happened from spending too long thinking and deliberating. You never know what chances are going to pass you by if you spend too long deciding on whether or not to do it. Someone else could get in there first and steal your idea. You could have missed the chance for them to be picked up by someone influential who could really catapult you to success. Like my friend would be the first to say that if she had just got the bloody thing out there within a week of coming up with the idea, she'd probably be stocking these amazing cookie jars in artisan bakeries up and down the UK now. It's just an example of the possible costs of procrastinating. And it's not about rushing. I'm not saying the quicker you do something, the better it will be, because that's not true either. You don't want to rush into something and it be crap, obviously. But the longer you take to act on that initial idea that pops into your mind, the more likely it will be that procrastination creeps in, and the less likely it will be that you ever do it. So don't give it the chance. Start physically working on your idea as soon as that light bulb goes off, and don't stop until it's done. And don't fall into the what if trap. That is the one that tricks us into thinking that we need to be ready, when actually we just need to start. It's really that simple. There is never a right time for anything, yeah? Don't you find that things only ever happen when you're forced into doing them? Like, we're really having to watch our pennies at the moment while I try and build up the business after being off for so long with my operations. So we're effectively down to one wage right now, and it is really difficult. And then last week, the floor of our little balcony, which is my safe haven, the place I retreat to when life just feels a bit too much, it bloody just collapsed. Yeah, luckily there's a base underneath, so I didn't fall through to the kitchen. But, can you imagine? Oh my God. But yeah, it just went. So we've had to call a builder in. And the day after that, my car started making funny noises, and I'm convinced now that that's on its way out, which is most definitely not the ideal time for this to happen. For now, with the car, I'm just ignoring it and turning my radio up. But these things, they've come at the worst time for us, really, but we are going to be forced into getting them fixed. And as a result, I'll hopefully have a lovely new patio floor on my balcony for the summer, reminiscent of a little villa in southern Italy, and a car that is safe to drive again. Now, I might not have been ready to do either of these things, but life sometimes has a way of ensuring that procrastination isn't an option, and it just forces you to make a decision that you otherwise wouldn't have done. And you have to have the same attitude when you're running a business. Don't wait around for the floor to collapse underneath you. If you've got an idea or something you want to do or change, do it. You don't have to have a big build up. You don't need a grand launch. Because if you are prone to procrastination, then by the time you've planned all this, that floor will be gone and you will be on your arse on the kitchen tiles, battered and bruised from the fall and wishing you hadn't waited so long. So, as I said to my Australian client, just open the bloody door, right? Now, on that note, I'm going to teach you what I'm now calling the just open the bloody door method. It's going to catch on, isn't it? I can feel it in my bones. So get a notepad and pen because you can refer to this the next time that you're staring procrastination in the face and it's trying to stop you from doing something that you want to do. So there's 5 steps to my method, okay? We're going to go through each one quickly so you know how to approach tasks so that procrastination doesn't have much of a chance to even try and surface, which is what we want, right? We want to be trying to eliminate it completely or at least stop it before it stops you. Now, obviously, we're using this method in relation to your business so you can stop dilly-dallying and just get the hell on with it, start making some money. But you can also use it for your personal goals too, whatever they may be, like getting fitter and losing 2 stone. Yeah, that's mine. So, step 1 in my just open the bloody door method is create yourself a lazy plan. Now, I like this as a starting point. Instead of trying to come up with an overwhelming strategy, instead think, what's the easiest way to begin? So, if you do want to introduce a new range, but you don't know where to start or what to do first or what colour to do it in, first of all, just breathe for God's sake, yeah? Then think to yourself of the easiest way to start. Now, if it was me and I wanted to start a new range of wedding stationery, and I knew I wanted it to be rustic themed because, it's all the trend, and I knew I wanted to include some wooden embellishments and maybe some hessian and twine in that design, you know what I would do? I would literally get all the materials out in front of me that I like the look of to possibly use in my new design, just so I can see them laid out. And then I'd just start playing around with them. I'd put some music on or a podcast, no pressure. I'd just see what comes. Don't be getting yourself all overwhelmed and confused and Googling your competition to see what they're doing or wasting time on different websites or social media pages trying to get inspired. Because I don't think that works at all. I think it just adds to the stress and you end up with information overload and then you get so overwhelmed that you end up just chucking everything at the wall, screaming that you're shit and you can never come up with anything that will ever sell. Well, that's not true. You absolutely can. You just need to be in a simpler headspace to create without the distractions. So find the easiest way to start for you and just see what happens. And if nothing happens, then walk away and try again the next day. Don't force it. There's been loads of times that I've had a creative block and I've had to walk away from it. And the next day, I see it with a fresh pair of eyes, and then I've created a masterpiece that's been a bestseller. So take the pressure off and go with a lazy plan just to get you started. Okay, that is the first step. The second step in my method to stop the chance of procrastination getting a hold of you is to shrink the fear. Now, fear is undoubtedly one of the main reasons why we delay something. Like, why do we put off that dentist appointment that we know we need to go to because we've got toothache and it isn't going to go away on its own? It's because we're afraid. Even if you're not afraid of actually going to the dentist, you might be afraid of what it's going to cost you, or even worried about having to take half a day off work to go. And it's the same with that task that you need to do for your business, but you're just delaying it because there's an element of fear associated with it. Maybe it's fear of failure if it doesn't work, and then you'll think you'll have wasted your time and you'll get disheartened. Maybe it's fear of what people will think. Maybe it's more of a practical fear and you're worried about the cost of buying in materials, when you're not sure if it's going to work. It's always an investment, isn't it? Whether it's time or money. So what you need to do for the second step is to break the overwhelming task into the smallest, most manageable step. So in the case of my lovely Australian client, she's afraid of opening a shop, right? She's absolutely terrified. So we've come up with this plan that's manageable for her. And we're starting with the smallest step that she can take towards this goal of being fully open and trading. And that's the next time that she goes into the shop, she goes in, yes, she locks the door, that's fine, but she takes the paper down from the windows because she's got paper up all around, so no one can see in. So she goes in, she locks the door behind her, but she takes the paper down. And then the next day, she goes in and she unlocks the door. No pressure. No neon sign flashing in the window, lighting up the whole street saying, "Come on in, I'm open." No, just an unlocked door. And the next day, she can have the paper down, the door unlocked, and she can tell one person that the door is open if they want to come in and visit her and see how she's getting on with the setup inside. Just really easy, manageable steps that shrink the fear to the point where she doesn't even notice that it was there in the first place. And before she knows it, her shop will be fully open and she'll be making her first sale. And then she's off, So step 3 in this method to avoid procrastinating is to set yourself a micro commitment. Like, what the hell's that, I hear you say? Well, instead of waiting for the confidence to come, because it'll never be there 100% when you start out, you'll be waiting forever if you want to feel like Sarah Davies before you release your ideas into the world, trust me. Instead, commit to one small action that you have to do. So let's say that you want to release a new range of knitted socks. Don't wait for National Sock Day to do it. Like, that's actually a real thing, by the way. It's 4th of December this year. Mark it on your calendars. No, set yourself a small task, like a quick social media post to show your design. No big accompanying speech to go with it, you don't need that. If the person seeing your post likes socks, then they'll just appreciate a lovely photo of them with something simple about why you love making them and how wonderful they feel on your feet. They think small and you're more likely to get it done quickly and without the overthinking. Step 4 to my just open the bloody door method is stop negotiating with yourself. You've got to learn how to bypass the mental back and forth that is keeping you stuck. I'll give you an example. You know that moment when you decide that you're going to send out a newsletter? Yeah. You're ready. You're excited. It's happening. You're about to tell everyone on your email list, all 10 of them, that your new knitted socks are now available on your website. And then your brain puts its 2 pennies worth in and it goes, "Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's not the right time. Oh, should I change the subject line? Oh, what if no one opens it? Maybe I should redesign the header. Or I could just do it tomorrow. Oh, actually, I should probably start by planning out my entire content strategy for the next 3 months before I hit send." And then before you know it, you're 3 YouTube tutorials deep into learning email marketing psychology. Yeah, your Canva has got 47 new design tabs open, and you're Googling how often is too often to email your list. Right? We have to stop negotiating with our brain. It's the only way to win. It's trying to drag you into a committee boardroom full of doubts and changes and delays. But you are in charge. You're the CEO. So you get to override it. So next time you hear that voice start with, "Oh, maybe just wait until," interrupt it. Stop it in its tracks and say something to yourself like, "Thanks for your input, brain, but I'm doing it anyway." Now, I know that's not easy, trust me, but the more you do it, the easier it will become. And the quicker that you can learn to just act on whatever it is you want to do, the faster you're going to see results with your business. And finally, step 5, celebrate the first step, not the perfect result. Because remember that success is actually opening the door. It's not a full gallery on day 1. No one actually expects anything of you apart from yourself. So don't be so hard on yourself, right? Be proud that you've taken the first step. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect, it rarely is. Progress comes from the act of doing, not waiting. Now I'm just going to finish telling you about this interview that I was listening to with an actor that I really like. Now, if you've seen Good Girls on Netflix, you'll know Rio. You'll know him. He's this gang leader and he basically employs his housewife and mother to do all his dirty work because she stole from him, and now she's got to pay him back. So he's always following her around, he's turning up at her house unannounced, he's often waiting for her on a bench when she takes her kid to the park. It's pretty sexy, right? I mean, I've waited many a time on the park bench in Glossop for Rio to turn up while Eden's pissing about on the swings, but it hasn't happened yet. Probably for the best. But anyway, he will get your pulse racing, trust me. So the guy interviewing him said, "What's the worst advice that you've been given in relation to your acting career?" And he replied, "Just wait." So someone told him to wait until he was really ready and equipped to approach the big directors for roles. They said to him, it could be like 10 years, but you must wait. You must wait to be ready. And he said, well, I didn't want to wait. I felt like I could do it now, even though I didn't have the experience. So he said he wrote handwritten letters to different directors and people he wanted to work with. And guess what? He got the jobs. And his net worth last year was estimated at $245 million. Not bad, is it? So let that be a lesson to us procrastinators. And please go and watch Good Girls if you haven't already. I guarantee you that you'll want to rob a bank and work for a sexy gang leader by the end of series 1. So there you have it, my soon-to-be famous just open the bloody door method, right? I hope that you can call on it next time that you're struggling and overthinking and procrastination tries to ruin your business and your progress. Remember, you don't need a perfect plan. You don't need loads of confidence. You just need to open the bloody door. Great things are waiting for you, but they can't happen if you never start. So if you do struggle with procrastination and this episode has really resonated with you, now is the perfect time to tell you about my new WhatsApp support group. I set it up for 2 reasons. The first one being to create a supportive community where everyone understands your struggles and they can share knowledge to help each other whenever they need it. Because working for yourself, it's so isolating, isn't it? And we don't always have people around us to ask for advice about our small business worries. So I set up this group and it's there and it's waiting for you to do just that. You can ask anything you want in it, so you don't waste time procrastinating. It's like having on-the-go business support from me, but you'll also benefit from the knowledge and experience of other creatives who are at different stages of their entrepreneurial journey, and they're part of the group too. And the second reason I set it up was to give something back. So I'm going to be donating 10% of every membership to Breast Cancer Now, which is a charity very close to my heart, as I'm sure some of you know already. So if you want to find out how to become a member of my new WhatsApp support group, please just visit my website, herhandmadehustle.co.uk, and I'll also leave the link in the show notes of this episode as well, so you can find it there. That's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget the bonus podcast episode for my paid subscribers. It's going to be out on Friday. It's all about how to launch something without the fuss or the overwhelm. It's perfect if you're a little introverted or you get easily put off doing something just because it seems too much, yeah? So I'm going to be helping you with that and showing you my soft launch strategy so you never have to dread the pressure of getting your ideas out there into the world again. If you're interested in joining my Substack as a paid subscriber to access this episode and many, many more bonus ones for just £6, please do head over to my Substack, and I'll also leave the link to it in my show notes as well. Thank you once again for listening, and I'll see you next week on the Her Handmade Hustle Unplugged podcast.